I competed at Quebec's Provincials to qualify for Canada's Bouldering Nationals. This competition was at Rosebloc 2, probably the best comp gym in Canada. In this video, I'll explain my round at Provincials, and most of all, with my scoring, I'll explain if I did qualify for Nationals and how I felt about this competition. But first of all, let's bring it back before the comp started. Alright, so it's 12:30. The comp is probably in like 10 hours since I'm one of the last athletes. So my first thoughts about this comp is that I'm stressed. For now, I'm just like praying that there's no slab that's gonna trigger too much my right ankle, because I have kind of a small injury on my right ankle, and yeah, right now it's feeling a little unstable. But other than that, I'm feeling pretty good lately in climbing. I don't know what to expect yet, but I'll just have to wait and do my best.
We're almost here.
Okay, so boulder number 1. This is the coordination boulder of the round, I would say. So since I came in like 2 hours before my round, I saw lots of people trying this one and actually flashing this boulder. And everybody was saying that this was the easiest boulder of the round, so I was a little stressed already before even trying the boulder. And I was doing some really bad attempts like this one. I actually just laughed right after I did that try. So I was starting to panic a bit, and I couldn't even get the zone on my first 2 attempts, so the pressure was definitely lifting up a bit. But on my third one, I could finally hit the zone, and this move was an issue for me since I had to stand on that dual text and I was like slipping straight away. So it was definitely a move that I was not really used to, like grabbing 2 slopers in a compression. And I was also not really understanding how to grab them. I was like this instead of going to the side. So I couldn't really figure that out on my first attempts. And the time was running low, of course, like I didn't have much time left. So every time I was like just jumping but not really learning from my attempts. And every time I had to step on that dual text hold, I was like missing some courage to just stand on it completely and commit 100%. So I eventually got this boulder after my round, and it wasn't really difficult. It's just that in 4 minutes it's pretty hard to adapt to the boulder. So that's definitely the boulder I have the most regrets of. So I think I should have gotten this boulder, and it definitely played a bit in my mental for the next boulders, so it was not really a good start to my qualification round. But oh well, I didn't get it and I had to move on into the next one. Alright, so boulder number 2. This one is probably my favorite of the round since it had some crazy moves that you'll see in a second. But for now, let's focus on my first attempt. So the first 2 crimps were really tiny, and then you have this pocket with 2 fingers. And look at this move, you gotta go in a 360 into the zone hold, and then with a small swing you have to paddle 3 times into the slopers. So that movement reminded me of 360 on the kilter board, and that's why I really enjoyed that movement. So having this movement in the competition was really cool, and since I did get the zone on my first attempt, on my second attempt I just tried to go a little further on the paddle up there. But once I realized that I needed just a bit more explosive power, I was feeling a little confused on if I do like more tries or if I just leave 1 try left, because believe it or not, it does take lots of energy to just do 1 attempt in this boulder. It takes away some energy, takes away some skin, so it's definitely not the most efficient way if I want to like keep my energy for the next boulders. And on the other hand, I did pay for the competition, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the most tries I can so I can redeem the money that I put into this competition. But of course that's not really efficient. If I do want to get the best score into this competition, then I probably should have done 2 less tries than what I attempted. Because after leaving this boulder, I was definitely pretty exhausted, and I only have 4 minutes of break, so that's definitely not ideal, especially considering that the next boulder is really hard. So at least I got a zone in 1 attempt, which was my goal for that second boulder, so I was happy with my performance on that boulder. So we are now up to the third boulder, and this is the hardest boulder of the round. Nobody topped this boulder. And before looking at my tries, I just want to say that there was 2 possible betas to get to the zone. So the first one, the original beta, is to just jump into the crimp and then catch the right hand by flipping it. But that's really hard. The starting position is not great, so jumping into that crimp, one arm, and then having just the momentum to flip it is really not an easy move. And the second way, which was a lot more my style, was just bumping the right hand at the start, and then you can slowly match the crimp. It's still really hard, it's just that it's a different beta that's a lot more static and reachy, of course. But since Elliot was before me, he showed me that that beta was possible. And of course, that was a lot more interesting to me than just jumping into the crimp. So, on my first attempt, I just wanted to feel the starting position, and that right hand was so terrible that I just immediately bumped the right hand into the crimp and decided to do Elliot's beta because there's no way I could have just jumped into that crimp. It was terrible. So it was still very hard because once you're in that position, the left hand is just a little too much on the left, and you kind of want it in the middle to hold that cut loose position. So it was still not easy, but I knew that it was possible, but it was taking lots of energy to just match that crimp. And I even dry fired from that position, so my skin was suffering from that. And I didn't have many attempts in 4 minutes because since that's really physical, I had to rest in between my attempts. So on my third attempt, I decided to just stick to that beta because it was feeling close. And I felt like I could do that movement by just matching, but holding that cut loose position was still an issue. And actually from that position, you can see that my left hand is too much on the left, like I said. So I had to find a way to replace it in the middle. So from that attempt, I did learn that I could really just replace myself before doing the cut loose, or it would be too hard to hold it. So once I got into that position, I grabbed the sloper, replaced my left hand, and finally did the cut loose by lifting my foot up. And I could grab the zone on my last attempt. And since there was like, I don't know, 10 seconds left, I didn't really care. I was glad that I got the zone on that one. And just to give you an idea, I think there was like 6 or 7 people that got the zone on this boulder, if I'm not mistaken, and no tops. So that just proves how hard this boulder was. So honestly, I didn't expect at all to get a zone on this one, so I'm super happy to have gotten the zone on my last attempt, and it definitely helped my score because you'll see in the end that that zone was really needed. So we're now into the fourth boulder, and this one is 100% my style, like grabbing some volumes, copying them, and then having some weird positions with like flexibility moves. So I was a lot more comfortable into this one, and on my first attempt I could get the zone straight away. And even though those 2 holds were dual text, they were still not like terrible, so I could just stand on them. And even though that last move was a little technical, I could still get it on my first attempt and get the match. So I got a top in 1 attempt, which was really good for my score. So of course I was feeling some regrets of the previous boulders because I was only at 3 zones and 1 top, and I felt like I could have topped the first one. But at least this flash definitely boosted up my score, so I finally moved on into the last boulder. And finally, the 5th boulder of this round was a slab. Of course, we didn't get to the slab yet, and this was a special slab. So as you see here, I have to muscle up on my left hand, muscle up on my right hand, lift my foot up, take that thing, and just then I get to the starting position. I also have to touch on my right foot. So all of that just to get in the starting position is a really weird boulder, and I think like we see this more often nowadays with competitions, but it's definitely really weird just having a zone next to the starting position. But anyways, I could get the zone in 1 attempt, and this last move was really hard for me since I had to cross like that and slowly transfer my body to the right side. But what we don't see from this angle is that the zone hold is like an actual nipple. Like you have to like squeeze it with 2 fingers like this. And I'm not gonna lie, I can count the number of times I tried this it's zero. I can tell you right away that I've never really held something like that. And I saw this in a few World Cups actually, like weird holds like that, but I've never personally tried them. So I was having a hard time just squeezing it enough to transfer my body on the right side. So I didn't really like those holds, but I had no choice to just try to squeeze it the most I could. And this starting position was also taking some juice away from me because the left hold on the starting position was the same one. You have to like pinch this in a weird way. So if I did get this one, like in any attempts, if I just topped this boulder, I got secured in the 12 first athletes, so I would make nationals for sure. But if I didn't top this one, my position into nationals was not secured. I would be like 13th, 14th, and that way I couldn't really qualify straight away. So I would need to have like an extra place that would come up like eventually. So this top was really important and I was starting to feel the stress. So that's not what you want in a slab. You want to keep calm and try to just move slowly, being controlled. But yeah, I just couldn't keep it together and it was actually a really hard ending. I know I could have gotten it in 4 minutes, but yeah, it just happens. I couldn't quite get it. And I was a little disappointed right after that boulder. All right, what's up? So it's 2 a.m. right now. Here's the proof. So I just came back to Quebec. I'm just gonna tell you my first thoughts about this competition. So I think this is one of the coolest competitions I've been to because even though I didn't perform to like my best, I didn't win the comp, of course. There's a bunch of really strong people. It was a very, very good experience and probably my best one yet because I've rarely done this 4 minutes in, 4 minutes off format. And even though we have these videos of like the route setters doing the boulder, it's like really not representative of how it feels when you're on the boulder. Because on video it always looks super easy, but yeah, when I got on the boulders they were really, really hard. It was honestly a lot harder than I expected. For 5 boulders they were like super tricky and super comp style. You know, Rosebloc is known for having like a competition style, a lot of dynos and some super risky moves. But yeah, overall I'm really happy about my performance. Like I said, I don't do this format often, and getting a few zones atop is pretty good for my standards. The only one that I kind of missed was the first boulder, and I don't really know what I could have done better at that moment, you know, like dealing with stress and probably just knowing how to commit more. But that's probably a subject for another time. Overall, pretty good comp, and I still don't know if I'm qualified for nationals. Okay, so final update. I am qualified to go to nationals. Long story short, there was 3 extra quotas, and since I placed 14th and they take the 12 first athletes, I was in between the 3 extra places. And that's why I said every single zone, top, attempts that I did in these boulders were crucial for me to get in that position, because if I placed 16th, I wouldn't have been able to go to nationals. So I got a month to train now because nationals will be in Calgary and the same format will apply. So I don't know, if I'm lucky I get to go to nationals, but if not, this was one of the coolest comps I've been to, so I don't regret anything. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys next time.